ठाकुर भजन। श्री उज्ज्वल रस स्वार स्वभाव तद्विप्रकार विप्रलम्भ संभोग आख्यान स्वभाव तद्विप्रकार विप्रलम्भ संभोग आख्या विना विप्रलम्बाश्रय स्वभोगेर पुष्टिनाय ताई विप्रलम्बेर विधान विना विप्रलम्भाश्रय संभोगेर पुष्टिनय ताई विप्रलम्बेर विधान पूर्वराग तथा मन प्रभस वैचित्य ज्ञान विप्रलम्बचारितो प्रकार पूर्व संग मेरा पूर्व रीति लभे पूर्व राग ख्याति दर्शने श्रवणे जन्म तारा संग मेरा पूर्व रीति अनुरक्त दंपतिर अभीष्ट विश्लेष स्थिर दर्शन विरोधी भावमाना अनुरक्त दंपतिर अभीष्ट विश्लेष स्थिर साहेतु निर्हेतु मान प्रणयेर परिणाम प्रणयेर विलास प्रमाण साहेतु सामवेद क्रियादाने नित्युपेक्षा सुविधाने सहेतु मानेर उपशम सामवेद देश काल वेणुरवे निर्हेतुक मानोत्सवे कर अति शीघ्र उपरमा देश विच्छेद आशंका हते प्रेमेरा वैचित्य चित्ते प्रेमेरा स्वभावे उपजया विच्छेद आशंका हते प्रेमेरा वैचित्य चित्ते प्रेमेरा स्वभावे उपजा देश ग्राम वनांतरे प्रिय जे प्रवास करे प्रभासाख्य विप्रलम्ब होया देश ग्रामे वनान्तरे देश ग्राम वनान्तरे प्रियाजे प्रभास कोरे प्रभासाख्य विप्रलम्ब होया हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे सॉन्ग का ट्रांसलेशन पढ़ेंगे एक्चुअली भक्तिविनोद ठाकुर राइट्स teachings, philosophy, details, anything he can write it in the form of song. So today morning I was seeing through the song book and just I came across this song. A simple tune and is explaining about Vipralambarasa and the classification of that rasa, all those things. So we'll read the translation. Mana, actually, बहुत सारा प्रवासा वैचित्या Prema Vaichitya comes about even in the presence of lover by an intense fear of impending separation, thus causing an unusual transformation of the heart. This is natural characteristic of pure prema. The symptom known as pravasa comes about when one's beloved has traveled to another forest, town or country. Thus, there are 4 stages of vipralambha, love in separation. कितना अच्छा लिखा है ना in simple Bengali language. And what he want to say, he is saying in the form of song. This is the speciality of the pure devotees. They are coming from the spiritual world. When they talk, each and every of the, one of their sentences will be a song. That's why they could able to compose so many songs. So Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. Today we will read from first canto, 15th chapter and 34th verse. Yaya harad bhuvo bharam Yaya harad bhuvo bharam Tam tanum vijita Vijahavajaha Tam tanum vijahavajaha Kantakam kantakeneva Kantakam kantakeneva Dvayam chapi shutuh samam Dvayam chapi shutuh samam Yaya harad bhuvo bharam Tam tanum vijahavajaha Kantakam kantakeneva Dvayam chapi shutuh samam. Dvayam chapi shutuh samam. Yaya harad bhuvo bharam Tam tanum vijahavajaha Kantakam kantakeneva Dvayam chapi shutuh samam. Yaya harat bhuvo bharam tam tanum nijaha vajaha kantakam kantake neva swayam chapi shitussamam. Kantakam kantake neva swayam chapi shitu samam. Yaya harat dhruvo. Okay. Hare Krishna. Yeah, bolo. Bhuvo bharam tam tanum vijahavaja okay. इसका meaning I will go through the meaning, but I want to make you think of the meaning. Harad anteni, what is the meaning of harad? Har, taking away. Okay. Bhuvo, bhuva, bhuvanam. Bharam, burden. Tanu, Shariram, body, tanu. So, tam means that, okay? Tam tanum vijaha. Vi manslam, again relinquishing, okay? Vijitendriyaha, the one who relinquishes indriyas. Vijaha, ajaha, unborn. Kantakam. Chintamani Prabhu, what is kantakam? Thorn, yes. Kantakam. Kantakam, kantakaneva. So again kantakam. Eva means only, certainly. Okay. And dvayam, dvi, two. Cha, Isha, controller. Isha means controller. Samam, equal. Good. We should look into the shloka like that. Then thoda sa अच्छा लगता है. Yaya harat bhuvo bharam tam tanum vijahavajaha kantakam kantakeneva dvayam chapi shitu samam. Yaya, that by which aharat, took away, bhuvaha, of the world, bharam, burden, tam, that, tanum, body, vijahau, relinquished, ajaha, the unborn, kantakam, thorn, kantakena, by the thorn, eva, like that, Sorry, eva means only, but this is iva. Okay? So, kantakeni. In Sanskritam, kantakeneva. Dvayam, both, cha, also, api, although, ishituhu, controlling, samam, equal. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Unborn, Lord Sri Krishna caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, and thus he relieved the burden of the world. This action was like picking out a thorn with a thorn, though both are same to the controller. Purport. Srila Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur suggests that the rishis like Shaunaka and others who were hearing Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from Sukadeva Goswami at Naimisharanya were not happy to hear about the Yadus dying in the madness of intoxication. To give them relief from this mental agony, Sukadeva Goswami assured them that the Lord caused the members of the Yadu dynasty to relinquish their bodies, by which they had to take away the burden of the world. The Lord and His eternal associates appeared on the earth to help the administrative demigods in eradicating the burden of the world. He therefore called for some of the confidential demigods to appear in the Yadu family and serve him in his great mission. After the mission was fulfilled, the demigods, by the will of the Lord, relinquished their corporeal bodies by fighting amongst themselves in the madness of intoxication. The demigods are accustomed to drinking the somarasa beverage, and therefore the drinking of wine and intoxication are not unknown to them. Wine and intoxication are not unknown to them. Sometimes they were put into trouble for indulging in intoxication. Once the sons of Kuvera fell in the wrath of Narada for being intoxicated. Sri Radha Madhav ki jai, Sri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Sri Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Maharani ki jai. Once the sons of Kuvera fell in the wrath of Narada for being intoxicated, but afterwards they regained their original forms by the grace of the Lord Sri Krishna. We shall find this story in the 10th canto. For the Supreme Lord, both the Asuras and the demigods are equal, but the demigods are obedient to the Lord, whereas the Asuras are not. Therefore, the example of picking out a thorn by another thorn is quite befitting. One thorn which causes pinpricks on the leg of the Lord is certainly disturbing to the Lord, and the other thorn which takes out the disturbing elements certainly gives service to the Lord. So, although every living being is part and parcel of the Lord, still one who is pinpricked to the Lord is called an Asura, and one who is a voluntary servitor of the Lord is called a Devata or demigod. In the material world, the Devatas and Asuras are always contending, and the Devatas are always saved from the hands of the Asuras by the Lord. Both of them are under the control of the Lord. The world is full of two kinds of living beings, and the Lord's mission is always to protect the Devatas and destroy the Asuras whenever there is such a need in the world, and to do good to both of them. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahiyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। Hare Krishna. So here Krishna has removed the burden of the planet Earth by removing or by taking away all the yadus from the earthly planet. So who are the yadus? Yadus कौन है? Yadus are the actually many demigods have appeared in the Yadu dynasty just to assist the mission of Krishna. What is the mission of Krishna? Krishna mission enti परित्राणाय साधूनां विनाशाय च दुष्कृतां धर्म संस्थापनार्थाय संभवामि युगे युगे. So and he wanted to establish dharma, safeguard the devotees and destroy the demons. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir-bhavati bharata abhyutthanam-adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. So he comes in every yuga, he appears to safeguard the devotees, destroy the demons and re-establish the religious principles. So and it's very natural. Everyone seek pleasure. Everyone seek pleasure. And the demigods also seek pleasure. There will be some people amongst human beings, they drink very limited. Every day they have to drink little. Recently, you sent one Mataji to me, and that Mataji was telling her husband drinks every day some alcohol, and then he will have to eat some meat and sleep. He will not disturb or he will not cause any. He takes care of family, everything is nice. But he drinks little alcohol and every day he eats meat. So for materialistic person, he's a good man, he's taking care of his family. He sent all his children to Canada, he gave nice glorious career to the children, took care of the family. For materialistic people, he's a good person. And he's living his life also happily, he's drinking alcohol. But the spiritual progress will be obstructed in such condition. Because their goal of life is not spirituality. Okay? So that's why we should never be enamored by the demigods' goodness. They are good, but many of them may not be pure devotees. Still they have some material desires. Still material desires are there. Indra, Chandra, all these people. So in Yadu dynasty, all these people came on the order of the Supreme Lord to assist the Supreme Lord. So the difference between the demigods and demons is, one help the Lord, other gives trouble to the Lord. They gives trouble to the Lord in the sense they go against the rules given by the Lord. Demigods always, if Lord says something, they will abide to that rule. And within that rule they find some, and then they enjoy life. They enjoy their life. Generally, drinking alcohol doesn't look to be a sinful activity because you're not harming anyone. And when you drink little in controlled way, you may not harm your health also. At least I don't subscribe to that drinking alcohol is hazardous to health. I saw many people drinking alcohol and keeping their health also fine, like many military people and all, they drink very. So we are not actually worried for the health. We are worried for the spiritual progress. The devotees are worried for the spiritual progress. When we are attached to something other than Krishna, we get stuck to that. And then there won't be any progress further. That is the problem. Whether it is an intoxicant is something which will hook you to that. Once you start drinking some intoxicant, drinking or taking intoxicant, it will not leave you. You have to have it. Even meat also is like that. The people who are addicted to the smell of the meat, for the devotees the meat smell is so obnoxious, so horrible. But those who are addicted, for them, that smell, where is it? Let me go, grab it. Means they get hooked to it. That's why for devotees, nothing doing, no intoxication, no meat eating, no illicit sex and no gambling. Because they hook to this material world. For the devotees, only one thing, we have only one thing left. What is that? Krishna, bas, aur kuch nahi hai. For devotees, eko devo devaki deva putra. Eko deva devaki putra. Eko deva devaki putra eva. Eko mantra tasya namani yani. Sorry, what is in between? Eko devo devaki putra eva. Eko in between there is Gita also. Ekam shastram devaki putra gitam. Eko devo devaki putra eva. Eko mantra tasya namani yani. Karma pyekam tasya devasya seva. So in intoxication, in meat eating, there is no tasya devasya seva. What is the seva? Indriyasya seva is there. So that Indriyasya Seva is not there in the life of the devotees. That's why Srila Prabhupada is very strict in forbidding those things. So it raises a devotee above the demigods. Okay, when we practice devotional service, we acquire all the good qualities of the demigods and we go beyond actually. That's why yesterday over giving class that Prabhu was quoting. A devotee prays, better I get a life of a Kita in the house of a devotee, where he can eat some Krishna Prasadam instead of Bahir Mukha Brahma Janma, with so many heads of, a life of so many headed Brahma, he doesn't want. This is the mood of the devotees. So that's why we avoid any kind of intoxicant, any kind of illicit sex, any kind of meat, all these things. If it helps us in Krishna consciousness, we don't mind eating meat or we don't mind drinking alcohol. So this is the mood of the devotees, because we want only Krishna. And anything that happens in this world, devotees sees actually it is the will of Krishna. So when all the Yadavas were killed, so it appears like Krishna is killing them. But you see, I'll give you one analogy. Your clothes are very dirty. What you will do? You will put it in water and washing powder. You put so much of washing powder and then you soak it for some time and then you will wash it and then all the dirt will go in the soap. But you keep the soap after that. Soap is good, but will you keep the soap? You will again put some clean water and then rinse the soap from the cloth, and then when all the soap is gone, then you will dry the cloth. Isn't it? You don't keep the soap because soap is also not required. So when dharma is there, demigods are not required. People can nicely practice Krishna consciousness and only Krishna is required. So here Krishna invited all these demigods and then he has used them in rinsing away, in washing away all the demoniac people. And then after they all went, and Krishna said, okay, you also go now. And then he rinsed them and he sent them back. And then the religious society was given in the hands of Pariksit Maharaj. Actually speaking, Kali Yuga has entered the day Mahabharata war was over. According to the calendar dates, Kali entered. But influence of Kali did not begin until Krishna left this world. Kali could not influence this world when Krishna was present. And when Krishna left this world, then symptoms of Kali were perceived by Yudhishthir Maharaj. That's why he was doubtful. The moment he saw the symptoms of Kali, he was very much doubtful that, oh, Krishna would have left, And then in this whole chapter, he asked so many questions to Arjuna, and then finally he confirms that Krishna has left this world. And when Krishna left this world, like it was a big bang to the Yudhishthira Maharaj and all Pandavas, Kunti. Kunti was overhearing all the discussion between Arjuna and Yudhishthira Maharaj. Then they all felt Vipralamba Bhava, they all felt separation from Krishna. Now Krishna is not there. How can we be there in this world? So Yudhishthira Maharaj was completely, already he was dejected, he was completely renounced, even though he was in the throne of the king, he was completely renounced. And then after he heard Krishna has left, then physically he would like to renounce. He didn't want to continue to rule. So he put Pariksit Maharaj on the throne of Hastinapur. Okay, Hastinapur was the epicenter of the whole world. Whole world was under the rule of Hastinapur. And so there used to be so many kings, but they were all friendly kings. Pariksit Maharaj didn't have any rivalry when he was ruling. He didn't have any enemical king. All kings were ruling in their own way. And whenever he performed some yagna, yaga, they all bring so many gifts and gold and everything. And the yagnas will be performed grandly. Some people may be giving him tribute out of respect. Generally, kings take money, like government takes money, and then they will put that money back to the society, isn't it? So that way, they will collect the tributes, and whenever there is need, they will distribute the money. When some king needs some money, famine came, then king will supply food, grains, whatever is required. So it is like central government and different states. Like that, whole world was one country. And it is normal, natural, whenever the head becomes weaker, then everybody will start declaring we are independent. Isn't it? So the kings of Hastinapur were very, very strong, so other people couldn't declare independent. But this continued maybe until Pariksit Maharaj, Janamejaya Maharaj. But after that, world started getting disintegrated, and then so many countries. Like if you go to Europe, small country, isn't it? And they fight among themselves. Czechoslovakia was one country, and then they fight, and then they make it into Czech Republic, and then Slovakia, and then Slovakia fought, and then, I don't know I'm right or wrong, but Slovenia and Slovakia, all small countries, because there is no strong head. So, but earlier these kings were so religious and they were very strong, so they could able to rule whole world. And then when Yudhishthir Maharaj was leaving, he was emperor of the whole world, and then he made Pariksit Maharaj as his successor. And then for Mathura, Mathura also was another kingdom, and he put Vajranabha as the king of Mathura, the great grandson of Krishna. So like that, because Krishna left and Yadus have also left, so in that Yadus, Vajranabha was left out. So he was made as a king, and then Yudhishthir Maharaj leaves the kingdom. So that way, they all go back to Krishna. They were always close to Krishna, most fortunate people are the Pandavas, Pandavas are very fortunate because they are more fortunate than the Dwaraka Ranis. Krishna used to spend more time with Pandavas than his own wives. You can imagine how fortunate. In one sense, Krishna gave very, very little time to gopis. Actually, the time Krishna gave to gopis was very short in comparison to Pandavas. So many months and years he used to live with Pandavas. So that way Pandavas are very, very fortunate, and such fortune has gone away when Krishna left, and they felt separation from Krishna. So there are different types of Vipralamba Bhavas. Of course, they were not in Madhurya Rasa as such, but in separation, even in among the friendship also, when you are away from the friend, you feel separation. So that way Pandavas felt, and then they couldn't bear that separation, and then they decided to go back to Krishna. And they were well versed in the scriptural injunctions, how to go back to Krishna. So they fix their minds fully on Krishna, no other business. Okay? No other business after that, only Krishna. When you are ruling a kingdom, how many businesses will be there? Huh? A king will have so many duties to address, so many things to talk about, so many wars to be fought, so many wives to get married, and you have to live with them. So many responsibilities. But in this juncture, they decided, now nothing, only Krishna. So Prabhupada writes in his purports that we also should design our life in such a way that we gradually mature, and then now we have so many things in our mind. Okay? But as we mature, there should be a time where at least 15-20 years should be there in our life. We will completely give it to Krishna, nothing else. Okay? Nothing else. Like when you were a kid, Balastavat Krida Sakta, Tarunastavat Taruni Sakta. When you grow little young, you are so much interested in women, girls. And Tarunastavat Taruni Sakta, Vriddhastavat Chinta Sakta. And when you grow old, then you will, I should have done like that, I should have done like this. We will always be in Chinta. But Prabhupada says, now your asakti should be always diverted towards Krishna. And when you are young, you are not completely matured in that, you are practicing stage, you will have different duties also to perform. And obviously different asaktis will be there. But you design your life in such a way that at least 20-25 years should be fully dedicated to Krishna, nothing else. So in the sense, in Varnashrama society, a brahmachari, a grihastha, and then vanaprastha and sannyas. So we should allocate some time for the sannyas ashram in our regular life. I mean, we should live our life in such a way that we will be able to practice sannyas ashram also. Means we should allocate that much time. Some people get married at the age of 41, 42. Marriage itself is in 40 years. So by the time he will have a kid, will be 45. And by the time his kid he wants to get married, his kid, he will be how much? 70 years. And jeete kitna? Maybe 65 years, 75 years, 80 years. And then after he get married, some other responsibility, he will not have time for anything else. Isn't it? So, the modern life is actually never considered vanaprastha. Sorry, they talk about retired life. But for them, retired life means turn on the TV, stretch your legs, watch television whenever you want, sleep whenever you want, you will get some pension money and live happily. Whenever you get sick, you are given some insurance, go to the hospital, get treated, and then come back and then relax. This is retired life. Is there any Krishna in the retired life, in the modern life? Actually, if someone is not taking Krishna's name, they should not be given pension. We should have some rule like that. So the pensioners, they don't practice Krishna consciousness, they just live materialistically, happily. Happily in the sense, materially happy. But they will have so many chintas. Oh, my son is in America, he is not even calling me, they are ignoring us. They are living with the son, but they always find fault. My daughter-in-law has made this, my son has spoken like this. And then they will be always in the chinta. They don't have attachment to Krishna. They don't develop that attachment. Actually, you have nothing to do. Just chant the holy names and associate with the devotees and live peacefully. Read Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Understand the purports of Srimad-Bhāgavatam. understand, who are the previous acharyas and then read about them, learn about them. Nothing. Many people, the retired people, and where is the sannyas, There is no sannyas is not there in the dictionaries at all. At least retired life, not vanaprastha, but it is retired life. Actually, in vanaprastha ashram, one should perform austerity to get prepared for the sannyas ashram. One should get prepared to enter into sannyas ashram. And of course, these ashrams are mainly for the kshatriyas and the brahmanas. So these days all are shudras, so we don't have those things. But Prabhupada says one must design his life so that he can accommodate significant number of years for dedicating fully to Krishna. Means like Bilvamangal Thakur was just living in Vrindavan. He was not having any attachment. He doesn't have anyone to say that this person is mine. And he was just living one place and then he was singing songs. And when someone brings some food, he will eat, otherwise he will fast. And Krishna himself personally was bringing milk to him every day, and he was drinking that 1 cup of milk, and then he was glorifying Krishna all the time. So he could able to bind Krishna, he could able to arrest Krishna within his heart. His life was successful. This success is not, the success of the life is not defined. Like, many people get Jivita Safalya award, like, lifetime achievement award. What do we call that? Jivita Safalya, recently, different awards. What Safalya? You are still old, you are still suffering, you are ignored completely by the society. What kind of success you have? Now, example, very famous political party, ruling political party leader, and now he is 90 plus. Who goes to talk to him? Who cares him now? He is very old. No one cares him, isn't it? He is ignored, and definitely when you are ignored, you don't feel good. And within his mind, he still wanted to be recognized and respected and everything, and is ignored. So he is not successful, isn't it? His life is not successful. He wanted something, but he is not getting it. He is not successful. But the real success comes. You want Krishna, and you got Krishna. That is real success. Like Bilvamangal Thakur wanted Krishna, and he didn't want anything of this world, and he got Krishna. And Krishna was just every day coming to him, giving him milk. He was chit-chatting with him. He was speaking to him so many sweet words. And he was always in jubilation. Bilvamangal Thakur was always in jubilation because he was closely associating with Krishna. And that is a success. And we should aspire for such success. Not any other success. Oh, I have so much money in my bank balance and that money will take care of me. I don't need anything. Many people think like that. But that is not success. So, in that sannyas ashram, even health get spoiled. You don't care. What will happen? Like, I won't be able to walk. I will not walk. I won't be able to see. I don't see. Like, I will just at one place, my padara hunga. I'll just stay at one place. Like Pariksit Maharaj is sitting and a snake is going to come, he is not caring. In the same way, in the sannyas ashram, you have no one to cry for you, or you have no one to cry for. Such a nice situation. Fully free from the material bondage. And then, if death comes, let it come. But until then, you are absorbed in Krishna. Or, you may not be absorbed fully in Krishna, but your only job is to get absorbed in Krishna. No other job. Fully dedicated to Krishna. So, this way one should design his life, then life will be successful. Otherwise, we get hooked to some or other material things in this world. That's why Varnashrama is very systematically designed. You get married, you lead Grihasthashram, and then you raise children, and when children are grown, they will go away from you, and then you go elsewhere, accept Vanaprasthashram. So that way we also should plan. Srila Prabhupada, you see his life. Today's day, Srila Prabhupada had taken sannyas. And Prabhupada was considering himself to be Grihastha. By the time he met Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was having one child, I think, one or two children. One child. And he goes to meet, he had family responsibility. He didn't relinquish the family responsibility of a sudden. So he was leading. Actually his focus was on Krishna only. But still he was dedicated to Krishna. He was trying to dedicate fully to Krishna. But the business, whatever he was doing, he wanted to use that money for Krishna's service. He wanted to use his family for Krishna's service. They were not interested so much. Even last time when we were reading Prabhupada Leelamrut, there also Prabhupada went to the Gaudiya Math along with his son, and both were serving. So he was taking his son also, trying to involve, Vrindavan Das I think is his name. He was trying to involve in the Gaudiya Math affairs, in the service. But somehow the youngest son was best among other three children. But even that son was also not to the mark, to the expectation of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada is like complete, is nothing, no one side only. Prabhupada never was that side and this side. He never put one leg this side, one leg that side. He was always with Krishna. He wanted to pull family also towards Krishna, fully like him. But they could not meet his expectation. Actually, many of Indians could not meet his expectations. He wanted just leave everything, serve Krishna. Prabhupada was like that. Everything you give up, serve Krishna. Many Indians didn't meet Prabhupada's expectations. But he never ignored anyone. He never actually kicked away anyone. He tried to engage everyone in Krishna's service. But in everyone's life there will be some pivotal point. Like that in Prabhupada's life also, he wrote commentary on Bhagavad Gita, and then he kept all the manuscripts in his home. And he went to Jhansi, and then he did so many things in Jhansi. He wanted to publish the book. For us now, money is like liquid water. We spend money like water. Those days, money was not this much easily available. So Prabhupada couldn't print the books that easily. It was so difficult to collect money. Actually, writing is difficult thing. Even to write on a paper, you need to have some paper. That paper was also scarce. For printing also, you need to collect the paper. So, with all the difficulties, he wrote the manuscript, kept it, and he wanted to publish that later whenever he gets some money. And his wife gave away those manuscripts in return to the tea biscuits. And somebody came to sell the tea biscuits, and then she took those biscuits in exchange of those manuscripts. Such a valuable manuscript. And Prabhupada was completely lost. You gave those papers for tea biscuits. You want tea or me? Then she said, tea. She said, tea. Then he said, okay, you keep tea. I am going away. Me is going. Then he goes away. He walks off. And when he walked off, the family, he didn't take anything. He didn't, no, we are giving divorce, so half property to you and half property to me. No, in sannyas you don't have any property. You just, already he was, in his mind he was sannyasi, but that time he took a very, very determined decision that he want to be aloof from family and he want to fully dedicate to Krishna. And later, formally he accepted sannyas from Keshav Maharaj, his god brother, but his sannyas actually, almost more or less, he took sannyas much early. And then he went to Vrindavan. I think first he stayed in Keshi Ghat, and then later on he rented one house in Radha Damodar temple, and then he had only one business. What is that? Only service to Krishna. So he wanted to do service in terms by the way of preaching. Krishna, the most dear person to Krishna is the one who spreads the glories of Krishna, spreads the teachings, the Upadesha of Krishna. So he took up that like Herculean task of spreading the teachings of Gita and Bhagavatam to all over the world. Even when he was in Gaudiya Math, he wanted to spread in very, very big way. And the Gaudiya Math was like, they considered themselves to be very small. They wanted to print maybe 500 pamphlets or 500 magazines. And if they used to feel proud that we have distributed 500. But Prabhupada wanted to print 20,000, 10,000 like that. Prabhupada wanted his magazine to be better than the Times magazine. This was the mood of Srila Prabhupada. And then whole world should become Krishna conscious. So that was the mood he was carrying within his heart. And nobody can imagine that whole world can become Krishna conscious. Thousands and thousands of people become Krishna's devotees. Because the modern science was blooming. People sent, the Sputnik has gone to moon that time. And there was so much of propaganda of the science and technology, communication and so on and so forth. Automation, industrialization, all these things were, that time it was like big propaganda. Harita Viplavam, all these things were going on. In that situation, Srila Prabhupada spreaded Krishna consciousness like a big revolution. And this was not imagined. This was not imagined by anyone. But Prabhupada gave fully to Krishna, and Krishna gave his full energy to Prabhupada. One of the Prabhupada god brothers, Sridhara Swami, he tells Prabhupada as Shakti-Avesh avatar. Why? Because the Shakti of Krishna entered into him. Only by that he could able to spread. Otherwise this was not possible. Making a German people are very heavy people, very hard people. And he made them to chant Hare Krishna, and he made them to dedicate their lives for Krishna. French people are so sensual people. He made them to chant and dedicate their life for Krishna. And when they did it, Indians couldn't stop. Now in India the Krishna consciousness is blooming like anything, like mad. Everywhere preaching, thousands and thousands of devotees are coming, joining Krishna with Krishna conscious movement. So all this happened because Prabhupada's Prabhupada's desire, and he became a part of the mission of Krishna fully. So he gave 12 years, not 12 years actually, if I calculate fully, 20 years of Prabhupada. Maybe from 1956-57 to 1977, 21 years, Prabhupada has fully given. No family business, nothing. and what kind of organization he could able to build from nothing, how many people he could able to transform, how much he could able to please Krishna with his service. So that Prabhupada has developed, yes, churned his heart with Krishna consciousness and fully given to Krishna. So that way we also should plan, like somebody is working, he should plan like how I will fulfill all my material duties and then I will dedicate fully to Krishna. That way every Krishna conscious devotee should take up sannyas in future when the time comes. Or last time when Rasananda Prabhu came, he gave very, very nice class in Radhakrishna Chandra Prabhu's house. The gist of the class, I cannot repeat as it is, but the gist of the class was, Lord Chaitanya's mission is so beautiful, so wonderful. You can do everything with family. You can do everything with eating, with normal sleeping, with you don't have to give up the family or you don't have to give up anything. Yes, Prabhuji? Yeah, please. Yeah. More than sannyasi in the sense, even though he is associating with family members and all, but still he is maintaining that mood. He is not attached and he is not only himself, he is attaching his whole family to Krishna. Means the power of a grihastha becomes like multifold. Power of a grihastha will become multifold. Similarly, a sannyasi who is engaging so many people in Krishna's service, his power becomes much, much bigger. So, in Krishna conscious movement, the whole point is everybody should become a preacher. First you preach yourself, you preach to your family members, you preach to your neighborhood, you preach to your town and village, and everybody should become a preacher. So we don't actually advocate take sannyas and all, but we advocate go out and preach. Then automatically things will be taken care in due course of time. Okay? So today is very auspicious day, especially for the devotees, for the members of ISKCON. Prabhupada had taken sannyas and he brought all this knowledge to all of us. And Prabhupada's sannyas was very special because Prabhupada he never thought he is qualified to take sannyas. I mean, generally devotees are very humble. So he never felt he is qualified to take up sannyas, but his Guru Maharaj would come into his dream and he will wake him up from and then you take sannyas. Like 3 times he gets the dream. I mean, he gets instruction by his spiritual master in his dream to take up sannyas. And then he accept that instruction and then take up sannyas from Keshava Swami Maharaj. And then the rest is history, like what kind of service Prabhupada has done to the society. So we all, and Prabhupada wanted all the Krishna conscious members should be with the fire of preaching all the time. So that way we can reduce the burden of the Mother Earth. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. Any? Yes, Prabhuji? Yeah, you can.
You can see actually by this continuation of the shlokas that Andavas were really not ordinary people, not ordinary persons. So you can see that they lost the kingdom, they later again regained the kingdom, but by their life, and especially by the shlokas that we are now reading every day from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, you can see that actually they didn't care about this kingdom. They only fought for this kingdom because Krishna wanted.
And what is the proof? The proof is this shlokas what you are reading now in this
Chapter.
Pandavas retiring timely, that for them how to say, the worthy thing or the really the Krishna was really the jewel for them, and the really important thing, because when Krishna left this planet, immediately they left kingdom. I mean, they didn't care actually about anything. They just given up everything because Krishna is not there. That our life has no any value. So how we can develop in our life such a detachment like Pandavas had. As we can see, because we are saying now that we should take sannyas and so on. Even maybe officially we won't take sannyas, but at least internally we should cultivate such a mood, isn't it? And have done this grihastha ashram. Not that someone, for example, will take vanaprastha ashram. Okay, I given up my wife, I left my wife, and then after some time he has some girlfriend, young girlfriend. He given up his old wife and he has now some young girlfriend or something like that. So we should have done this really internally, isn't it? So how we can develop such a detachment, actually?
This is my take. We should always be engaged in Krishna's service. Always engaged in Krishna's service. And the day when we fail to do any service, okay, I'm not able to do service, so that time we should decide to leave this world. We should decide, now my service is, I can't do any service. And then, see, whenever we are doing service, we are associating with Krishna. The day you fail to do service, like when we get old, we won't be able to do much service. And that time, we should decide that we should retire completely. And then give up the body as per the will of Krishna. So, when we continuously do the service, there will be purification of the heart, and that purification will help us in future. You are always engaged in service of Krishna. By hook or crook, just do the service of Krishna. You get purified, and then definitely a time will come where we will become invalid in this material world, isn't it? So when you become invalid, then decide that now let Krishna take me away. So you maybe one can just walk off, go somewhere, and then maybe bhajan and chanting, and then give up the life. That way I see. I don't know how much I can do it, but we have to do that. That's the only way. Otherwise, when we think something is mine, something is attached, then we get attached to it. Even temple also we may get attached. Like my temple, my room, my congregation. Sometimes we forget Krishna, and that me will become prominent. So at least at one time we should give up all these things and then be aloof. But for that we should attain maturity all this life. So for that we should always be engaged in Krishna's service, very deliberately and consciously. Any better answer you yourself can give, Prabhu. Now, quite often we think of us so much in this current condition. My family's well-being, my reputation, family's reputation, all these things will come into picture. But no matter of what, we should engage in Krishna's service. Now we cannot just remove everything, but we should engage in Krishna's service, and then in due course of time we will definitely be elevated. And this 5th chapter verses, Naiva kinchit karomi iti, Naiva kinchit karomi iti yukto manyeta tattvavid pashyan sranvan sprishan jignan ashnan gachan swapan swasan pralapan visrajan grihnan unmishan nimishan napi indriyan indriyarteshu vartanta iti dharayan. A person in the divine consciousness, so we should develop this divine consciousness in due course of time. And when we develop this consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, or opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. So this, with the maturity only we will come to that. So, and now we should do everything as service to Krishna. Even running a family, raising the children, everything we should do it as a service to Krishna. And then you keep yourself aloof. You are not the doer. Krishna is the doer.
It's so difficult to come out from this, especially when we are in family life, to come out from this Rajaguna and Tamaguna, especially, to maintain family, this and that.
Very difficult.
Yeah.
That's why we should do that family as a service only. I am actually serving. On behalf of Krishna, I am serving these people. Because Krishna has given that responsibility, you are doing on behalf of family, on behalf of Krishna. Just like a mother should raise her child on behalf of Krishna. On behalf of Krishna, a mother should give milk to the child. Because Krishna has given the milk. She didn't produce milk herself. And he has given that milk, and Krishna wanted me to give that milk to to the child. So I will give. So Krishna wanted me to raise this child. So that way only we should live our life. Always we should instruct our mind continuously with this. The minute we leave mind little bit, then mind will think me and mine. It's you who are doing. It's your kid. It's not your kid, it's Krishna's kid. It's Krishna's family. This is what we learn from Prabhupada's teachings. It is not ours. And then we should also develop that mindset. And something goes wrong also, it's Krishna's wish. Then live in the hands of Krishna. And then we can be aloof. Otherwise, we will be very much attached. And in the attachment means hooking up to the material world. We will not be successful in our life. I can only tell this much, Prabhu. Make sense or?
Yes, of course.
Any other questions? If not, we will glorify Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by saying Granthra Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bho.